Hi everyone, welcome to my Week 8 presentation on employee privacy. I decided to focus on the video regarding privacy rights versus employee tracking for my presentation. I thought this video had a lot of good information, and specifically because it pertained to California privacy rights. This video itself was posted in 2013, so there's obviously been uh, a lot of changes in technology and a lot of advancements in technology tracking. Some of the information that came off this video was um, um, both public and private employers state that one of the main reasons why they track employee activity at work, whether it be vehicle tracking or internet web browsing on work place computers, is because they want to focus on productivity and any misconduct that might be occurring in the workplace. In California specifically, employers can monitor anything that is public, so they could roam through Facebook, any social media platforms for any interviewers who are applying for job positions or current employees at the organization. So it's really up to the employees and applicants to monitor their privacy settings. So if they don't want, if employees don't want the prying eyes of their employers going through their private social media accounts, then it's up to them to make their accounts as private as possible. California has right to privacy laws that extends to both public and private employers. Although these rights are there for employees, there are exceptions. So once an employer states or notifies the employee that there's going to be some kind of monitoring taking place, then there's a lot of lower expectations of privacy for that individual employee. As a public employee myself, how do I feel about employee tracking? I feel as long as the organization has a uh, clear stated policy regarding the specific type of tracking, whether it be internet usage at work, web browsing, vehicle usage, what kind of tracking the vehicle is going to be doing, or if you have a company issued cell phone, if you're able to turn off the GPS when at home or when you're off shift. As long as those are the policies clearly stated and easy to follow, that's a big necessity. Also training, yeah, there should be training on these tracking policies and technologies for the employee, so we understand what what information is being recorded on us individuals. And transparency, if we have questions, I'd expect the HR personnel or management to answer my questions clearly with any concerns I might have about breach of my personal privacy. I understand I'm a public employee, but I also have my rights when I go home, and I do want to be disconnected and not be tracked every single second of the day, even when I'm not at work. So as a real world example, I'm going to go over a little bit on our vehicle tracking system that they use at work. So they have a clear policy for our district vehicle use and driving standards program. On the second page at the very top, it clearly states Western reserves the right to monitor the operation of all Western vehicles with a global position of satellite device to ensure adherence to policies, proper maintenance, and safe vehicle operation. So it's clearly stated on there that as long as we're in a company vehicle, we could expect that we're going to be tracked either by satellite or any other functions. And just recently, over the last year and a half, they updated or upgraded the tracking devices to this Geotab device, and it tracks a whole slew of information. So it tracks acceleration, if your seatbelt's on, how hard you're braking, how fast you're turning, um, how many people are in the vehicle, and if you're obeying speed limits for that specific street or highway that you're on. So it has a lot of information, and the managers and supervisors have a lot of ways to use the information. They can make categories and to see who are their top 10 most adverse or risky drivers within a team or within the organization in general, and they could further proceed to giving those individuals further training on safe driving practices, just to make sure that everybody's being safe. So it's very advanced technologies that can be used to monitor employees. So this is what they have at work. But they let us know, right? We all know all this information is being tracked and can be used for any number of purposes. At the end of the day, they don't want to get anybody in trouble. They just want to be able to bring down the insurance rates with their insurance carrier and making sure that everybody's driving safely. Again, the organization is liable for any accidents that we're in. So at the end of the day, that also affects their bottom line, and they don't want to be held responsible for operator error if it's determined that we're being negligent with our driving practices. I think tracking of public employees has a lot to do with accountability. We want to make sure public employees are held accountable for their actions since we are public servants. We want to be held to higher standards. We want to follow strong ethical and core values. We want to instill public trust and be as transparent as possible. Just today, there was an article on NPR about 3 North Carolina officers that got fired because in one of they were doing random audits and recordings from police vehicles, and in the recording there was a very strong negative racist language towards the Black Lives Matter movement or protests that were occurring in the state. So because of that, this was found out, and those officers were let go. So I think it's important to have these tracking systems out there as long as first the employees are made aware of it, and two, it's as transparent as possible, and it's not being abused or used in the wrong way by management. That's the end of my presentation. I wish everybody the best of luck in their endeavors, and looking forward to your presentations.